What's up, guys? Welcome to Movie Emporium's Flashback Reviews, where we take movies from our past, break them down, and tell you what we think about them. As always, if you like what you see, remember to rate, subscribe, check out the YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. Email nlapola113@gmail.com if you have any questions. All right, so we're continuing our Marvel Cinematic Universe run through, everything leading up to Avengers Endgame. It's a massive list, so it's going to take quite a while, as I told you before. This is the next movie. It came out literally a few months after Iron Man, which was a huge success, did over $300 million in the States, $800 million worldwide. It's The Incredible Hulk, of course, which is directed by Louis Leterrier. A little bit of background. Edward Norton, who plays Bruce Banner, caused a lot of issues in the background. He wanted a final edit. He was eventually cast off, replaced by Mark Ruffalo, who turned into Bruce Banner, turned to actually a really good Bruce Banner. And this movie is kind of an odd duck because it didn't do a massive amount of money. I mean, it still made $150 million, but it didn't make what, Iron Man's have made or Captain America's or Thor's. So it was actually kind of a failure, but it was an early stage Marvel movie. So there's not really, you can't really fault it for what it was. But it has a pretty great cast. It has, of course, like I said, Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, Liv Tyler, who plays Betty Brant, Tim Roth, who's playing the main bad guy, Blonsky, who turns out to be Abomination in the end, William Hurt, who's playing Thunderbolt Ross, Tim Blake Nelson, who in the beginning is Mr. Blue, but turns out to be Samuel Stearns, who in the end is going to be the leader, and Ty Burrell, who has a small, tiny part, but you might know him from Modern Family. He plays Phil Dunphy. And so the basis of the story is we kind of have the setup in the beginning of, Bruce Banner has caused his mutation from the gamma rays. He goes on the run because he's like now a stolen government secret. And he ends up in a South American country where he's trying to figure out how to cure himself because he doesn't want this Hulk style abomination in his blood anymore. And things work out where he works for this factory. His blood gets into this drink that gets spread around the world. Stan Lee drinks it, of course, because it's Stan Lee's cameo. He drinks it, gets sick. And William Thunderbolt Ross has to go after Bruce Banner, so he sends Tim Roth's character, Blonsky, after him. And it's just a basic story of it's like a cat and mouse run game, which is what Hulk seems to be. It's like in the original Hulk movie was like that, and so on and so forth. So they go after him, and Tim Roth gets injured, and then he turns into a super soldier, and he becomes the Abomination eventually. At the very end of the movie, and the movie in general is interesting. All the cast is very well cast. They're all doing their parts. They're all having fun. But this, like I said, this movie is a very odd portion of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just the fact that I don't think the Incredible Hulk really works as its own central character. I think he works as a supporting character because he's basically a big monstrosity, beating machine. He beats up people. And you see it in like Thor Ragnarok, where he's actually a fun supporting character, kind of just he fits well with Thor. And it's just I don't know. I don't feel this movie just lives up to its potential. I'm one of the most apologetic people when it comes to the original Hulk movie because I actually enjoy that movie because I like what Ang Lee was doing. But I just feel that this is where Iron Man was so successful that I don't think this movie could ever live up to the hype it was trying to produce. And you can tell this is early stage. Kevin Feige, they're still kind of mapping out what they want to do with the MCU. And after the Avengers reveal at the end of Iron Man, we got this movie that just feels kind of like an offshoot. None of these characters outside of William Hurt ever come back. The characters come back, but William Hurt's actual acting character comes back in I think Civil War and then one of the Avengers movies. And it just feels off. It feels something weird about it. And I love Tim Roth, but he just feels off as the villain. He said he did this for his kids, which makes a lot of sense. Marvel movies the way they are, these actors like Robert Redford who would never do movies like this, they're gonna do it because their grandkids or their kids tell them, it's cool to be in a Marvel movie. But outside of maybe the beginning and maybe the middle stuff where they're at the school and they're in the factory, it just doesn't click for me. It doesn't work, and that's such a shame because I like Edward Norton. Edward Norton's one of my favorite actors ever, And I love Liv Tyler. She's pretty awesome. I definitely love William Hurt. I love everything William Hurt's ever done. You know, everything from A History of Violence to what was the Big Chill. But I just don't feel that this character it doesn't feel right, and it feels like Edward Norton had too much take and too much power, and he kind of ruined the movie a little bit. But I'm not a big fan of just what Louis Leterrier is doing. I know people like, you know, his work, but when it comes to, like, you know, the setups and the payoffs and just the weirdness to the film, I just I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this movie, and it's such a shame because there was this, and then of course Iron Man 2 is coming up, where I just don't feel like the MCU and Kevin Feige were at what they wanted to be. But you know, doesn't take away from, like I said, from the acting, which is actually pretty on point. You know, I like what William Hurt's doing more than Sam Elliott did with the Thunderbolt Ross character. But like I said, it plays into what eventually is going to happen with Bruce Banner, which you don't see him till the actual Avengers movie coming up. But like I said, this movie didn't do well. I think it did like $300 million worldwide. So, and with Universal owning the properties, we're probably not going to see a standalone Hulk movie. And maybe with you know, Mark Ruffalo coming into the fold, maybe it'd be a lot better, but I doubt it. And then you have the whole problem with Tim Blake Nelson's character, who's playing Samuel Stearns, and of course, you know, he plays the leader. And you see his character turn into the leader at the end, but then you don't ever see him again. And then you don't see the Abomination again. You know, I think he's dead, but whatever. And of course, you know, they replace, you know, Edward Norton's character. And because it's Universal, there's no Betty Brant or Betty Ross's character in, you know, the Avengers movies, which kind of plays weirdly with, you know, Scarlett Johansson's character, Black Widow. And it's just kind of a mess of a movie. It just doesn't work. And, you know, it's Zach Penn who wrote it. So, you know, he's written the Avengers movie. He wrote Ready Player One. And he just, I don't know. I don't, like I said before, I just don't think they were up to the challenge of what eventually became what they are. But it was, like I said, it's still an enjoyable movie. I'm not going to hate on it too much. Not like Iron Man 2. We'll get ready for that one. But it's fine for what it is. So, like I said, if you see, most of you have seen it, so you know what you think of it. But my opinion, it's an all right movie. It's harmless, but it's not going to do anything for your MCU viewing pleasure. You could actually skip it and go straight to the Mark Ruffalo stuff and be fine. So, but there you go. That's gonna be my take on the Incredible Hulk. Wait for it with Iron Man 2, like I said. As always, if you like what you see, remember to rate, subscribe, check out the YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. Email nlapola113@gmail.com if you have any questions. So yeah, tell me what you think of the Incredible Hulk. I know a lot of you probably like the movie. Like I said, I was not. I was lukewarm, I should say. But otherwise, we'll see you on our next video.